and welcome to this update from Computershare on our work on direct share registration. I'm Joe Williams and I'm joined by Paul Conn, President of Global Capital Markets. Paul, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Joe. Great to be here.
Lots of interactions with shareholders, both into our contact centre and through social media around direct share registration at the moment. Some very positive feedback on our services through those, I'm pleased to say. A couple of areas of other feedback, some frustrations that shareholders have asked us to look at. So a chance for us today to update them on any progress we've made in those areas. What have those frustrations been, Paul, do you think?
Well, first, before jumping into the frustrations, it's great to be able to do this with you. And I think it's fair to say, it's really good to be able to see all the positive feedback that is being shared online as it relates to some of the criticisms. We've been quite open through the prior AMAs that we would look at areas of our service where people wanted us to make some improvements. They really fell into three areas, two relating to dealing and trading via Computershare, the first relating to the maximum value cap, the second relating to the maximum limit order price, and the third relating to the length of time it takes to physically dispatch a pin pack through the post, particularly to international investors. So I'm pleased to say, having listened to the feedback we were given, the team's been working very hard over the last couple of months, and we're ready to report some progress on those points.
Fantastic. So let's take them in that order. What have we been doing about that limit question?
Well, the first one is the question regarding the $1 million cap. As people will be aware, we had until this moment in time a $1 million cap on web orders coming through our platform, and the expectation was that if you were going above that limit, you would need to submit an order to us in writing. And we were very quick, I think, to clear up the fact that anyone using the web could put multiple orders through. So that would offer some relief so that people would not need to use written communication to us. We don't like written communications either. We much prefer to do communications electronically. So I'm pleased to say that from today, so Wednesday the 19th of January 2022, we've actually increased that limit. We've increased it very specifically for GameStop so that the maximum value is $9,999,999. And again, the ability to put multiple sequential orders in will still be there. So that should more than satisfy the needs of the community. For almost all other securities that we provide dealing services for, the maximum cap has been increased to $2 million. So hopefully that's a very, very positive step forward. Community will appreciate.
Excellent, thanks, Paul. Other areas of limits, though, that we've had some feedback on, any changes there?
Well, I mean, the other one that created, I think, a lot of feedback, and look, it's a very hypothetical situation against which this feedback has been given to us, and we've been criticised for having a maximum limit order price of $214,748.36, and you can check the precise amount. I believe that to be it on the FAQ, but we have people who are asking us to have limit prices above that. We've had our team study this for a number of weeks to see what it would take to actually adjust that limit upwards. I think at this moment in time, we're comfortable leaving the limit ceiling where it is. It's a significant amount of work to introduce that change to our platform through our order routing platforms and to work with our broker on high limits. So for this moment in time, we're going to leave that limit exactly where it is. And I think the message, therefore, to people is if you have a definitive need to use limit orders above that, you ought to consider using an online broker to get the benefits of higher limits, if indeed they offer them. I'm not sure what brokers do and don't do. It's none of our business, but that's where we stand on that. So it's kind of a work in progress. We're comfortable where we are, and it's really up to investors now to decide whether that is a service that they want to use or not. It's purely at the choice of the investor.
Thanks, Paul. So let's move then to our use of sort of traditional mail for certain types of shareholder communication. What have we been doing there?
Well, this one rightly has stuck, and we've heard the criticism loud and clear, and you'd have to be tone deaf not to respond to it. So we have been working hard over the last couple of months to see what we could do to expedite the mail, particularly to international holders, that we can bring some relief to the dispatch of PIN packs, particularly to international investors. So rather than print and dispatch these PIN packs from the US and then mail them to different parts of the world, we will start to print them remotely in our international fulfillment centres and mail them into local markets from there. So in a practical sense, what does that mean? It means for investors that are in Europe or adjacent geographies, we will print the PIN packs from our fulfillment facility, our fulfillment facility in Bristol, and we'll mail from Bristol, and those communications will reach investors much faster because they won't need to first cross the Atlantic. We're looking at other international fulfillment centres, so hopefully we'll make some progress on that in due course. We're looking to do the same thing for DRS statements. We're not quite there yet, but we're looking at that. And we also have a group of people looking at what we can do to introduce two-factor or multi-factor authentication. That's some time off, and I don't want to set any expectations there today, but we're actively looking at that to see whether we could get rid of the physical mail for these types of discrete transactions completely.
So as you mentioned, there's been a lot of discussion via social media in particular around the differences between direct shareholdings and direct stock purchase plans. Now, I know we've updated our FAQs to provide more details on those differences, but could you just talk us through the similarities and distinctions?
Sure. I mean, this is one where I thought we had put sufficient information in the marketplace, but it's clear over the last 2 or 3 weeks over the holiday period that there clearly is some miscommunication still going on. I don't know whether that's misinformation or what, so we would try and be very, very clear in terms of how the DSPP and the DRS structures work. To be perfectly clear, people should go to the FAQ. I'm going to try to give you a summary of it here. But in essence, if you have a holding of DSPP, so shares that have been purchased through the direct stock purchase program, they are held in your name on the register just the same way as what I've called pure DRS. There really is no practical difference to the way the shares are recorded or how they're visible to the issuer. So hopefully that clarifies one key component. For both types, you receive your investor communications directly from the company through us as their agent. So again, I hope that clarifies. In terms of the direct stock purchase plan, you are able to hold fractions. You're not able to hold fractions in what I've called pure DRS. So that is a key practical difference. In terms of the structure, the reason there is a difference between these is because in the direct stock purchase plan, we use a nominee company that Computershare owns and controls to hold the common shares on behalf of all of the investors in the plan. That doesn't mean the shares are held in DTC. And I think that's where some investors are automatically jumping to the conclusion that because they are beneficially held, that they must be in DTC. And that's not the case. So in this situation, it's really important for people to make their own minds up as to which account they want to leave their shares in. They can freely transfer their shares electronically from the plan to the DRS environment. We've said that before, there's no charge for doing that. But I think what we've noticed is people are saying you must transfer your shares from the plan into pure DRS. And I'm not quite sure why people have chosen to do that. It's their choice after all. But what we've seen and read is that where people are transferring whole shares from the plan to pure DRS, they're also at the same time selling their fraction. And I'm not quite sure why they're doing that. And it's not our job to question why they are or why they aren't. But people should, feel free to leave their securities in the plan if that's what they want to do. And please use the FAQ. That's the primary way in which we'll communicate these very technical differences. But I hope I can give you a flavour through this communication what some of the subtle differences are, but by and large, they're the same form of holding the same underlying share.
Are there any differences in the way that DRS and DSPP shares are reported?
Not to the company, no. I mean, they're all, Paul Conn holds shares in pure DRS form and holds shares in the plan. The company will be able to see both of those holdings. So none whatsoever. And that's probably the key difference where people might be getting confused about if some underlying shares supporting the plan are held in DRS form, then they must be in DTC and therefore they can't be visible to the company. I think that's maybe where the misunderstanding has arisen from, but that's not the case here.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you, Joe.
Remember, you can check our online FAQs for more information on direct shareholding. We'll continue to keep that up to date as more questions surface, and we hope to provide further updates on our services soon. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in.